Hi everyone. Today I'm going to be talking about dystopian fiction and the themes that are commonly found in these novels. So, what is a dystopia? A dystopia is a society that is often suffering under the oppression of authoritarian rule or a lack of individual freedoms. In dystopian literature, it is often society itself that acts as the antagonist to the main character. One popular theme that is explored over and over again in dystopian fiction is authoritarianism. Authoritarianism is the strict obedience to authority at the expense of personal freedom. An authoritarian regime is often at the heart of the dystopian novel. Think Big Brother in George Orwell's 1984. In this classic dystopian novel, the government is run by what's referred to as an inner party and uses propaganda, surveillance, and severe punishments to keep its citizens in line. Their very thoughts are monitored, leading to prosecutions over thought crimes. What do you think Orwell was critiquing when he wrote the book in 1949, 35 years before the year he was writing about? Or, for a more recent version, how about the now famous Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins? In this novel, the capital exercises control over the people of the country of Panem by making them completely dependent on them for resources. People are kept at near starvation, and the children are picked off every year to perform a highly produced, televised battle to the death. The government exercises control by use of propaganda, fear, and strict control over personal freedoms, creating an atmosphere of helplessness for its inhabitants. What do you think Collins was critiquing when she wrote Hunger Games? Another common theme within dystopian fiction is that of the suppression of the individual. One great example of this is the Margaret Atwood classic The Handmaid's Tale. Set in a totalitarian theocracy, meaning it is controlled by a religious elite, women were separated into different classes based on their function in society, and their very bodies were politicized and strictly controlled. They are not allowed to vote, hold a job, read, possess money, or own anything, among many other restrictions. Atwood's novel is a classic example of dystopian speculative fiction, in that it takes some commonly held beliefs and sees them to their logical end. What do you think Atwood was critiquing when she wrote A Handmaid's Tale? Another great example in dystopian fiction of the suppression of the individual is in the classic by Aldous Huxley, A Brave New World. In this novel, exclusive love and friendships are forbidden, and the country has created a race of people who are nearly identical to one another. Individuality is repressed in order to maintain stability. This is common in dystopian fiction, that the people give up something in order to gain something else. It is often not until it is too late that the people figure out that what they gave up was far more important than what they gained. What do you think Huxley was critiquing when he wrote this novel in 1932? The fact is, the last century has shown people the horrors that humanity is capable of. Dystopian fiction unshockingly took off after World Wars I and II shook the foundations of what it meant to be human. Once people became aware of the many forms that human atrocities can take, and of what humans were capable of doing to one another in the name of power, dystopia became an important tool for critiquing such practices. This kind of literature is a way for us to imagine what our lives would be like if we didn't maintain some of the rights and protections that we often take for granted. Dystopian fiction says, look, if you keep things up, this is where you're headed. Fix it before it's too late.